we have been able to cover the four elements of business scale up that involves lead generation, lead nurturing, lead conversion. And today we'll be talking about the last and final aspect of this, which is lead retention. Now, lead retention is one of the most crucial aspects of your business if you really want to scale it up, because the most important feature or element in every single business is its customers. And if you don't know how to retain customers or leads, it's like going to get something treasurable, like a gold or something, and putting it into a leaky bag. No matter how much gold you get, if the bag is leaking and can't retain it, you still have to get more and you end up being poor. So lead retention teaches you how to keep those customers, those prized customers that cost you almost everything to get. And if you can learn how to retain leads, you'd have completed the final puzzle to business scale up. Now, lead retention focuses on one single element, and it's called trust. If you can get customers and clients to trust you or trust your business, you'll be able to scale up to any single level. Why? Because you need some of your inadequacies to be excused and be made up with the trust of the customers. Now, you won't be able to satisfy every single competence that your business requires, but if you get trusted, people can excuse some of your inadequacies. Now, talking about trust, there are 5 major things I'll be focusing on in trust and helping you to really dissect and understand this topic properly. And the first have to do with reducing risk. Now, trust have to do with the willingness to be vulnerable for a beneficial outcome. How do you get people to be willing to be vulnerable? Asking people to be vulnerable is very risky. There's a risk associated with every single business. If you start up a business right now, there is a risk associated with it. And this risk has to be borne by either you or the customers, but someone has to bear the risk. Someone has to embrace this risk. And it's better and easier if you bear it so you can have a whole lot of people trust you. And the first thing we have to do is to reduce this risk. After reducing risk, we now build trust. If you build trust before reducing risk, you'll be shooting yourself in the foot, because you'd have a contaminated trust if risk is involved. Now, so after reducing risk, I'll show you how to build trust. After building trust, I'll show you how to create a positive experience in the journey for the customers in regards to dealing with your business. After creating a positive experience, I will then teach you how to involve the customers, the users, the consumers. How do you involve customers and users and consumers in your business? And then ultimately, I will show you the psychological elements of trust, some of those psychological elements you need to infuse into your business for it to be trusted. And these are the 5 things we'll be talking about today. So talking about the first one, which is reducing risk. Like I said earlier, there's a risk involved in every single business, and it has to be borne by either the business or the customers or the users. Now, there are at least 7 different exhibitions or manifestations of risk when it has to do with your business. The first might be on, let's say, delivery. Most customers or users are afraid if you're actually going to deliver the product you promised. It's why you see some business set up and they ask you to pay on delivery. So they are certain that you get to see the thing you ordered before making payment. The second could be on time, delivery time. Now, time have to do with, even if you deliver the product, are you going to deliver it on time? Because most of the things people use are time bound, and you don't want to deliver after the time for the use have been exhausted. So there is that risk with time associated with every single product or services. Then there is also a risk of quality. Is it going to be the quality we saw? Is it fake? Is it counterfeited? Is it some sort of a lower version of it? So there is that risk of quality associated with every single product or services. And then there's also a risk of quantity for products that involves quantity. Is it going to be to the same amount and to the same extent as what we saw, what you used in your marketing and all that? So outside the delivery time, quality, quantity, there is also that risk that is associated with troubleshooting. That is, outside the quality and the quantity and delivery and all that, what if this thing has an issue after you've delivered this product? If it has an issue, how does it get corrected who do I talk to, or do I just get left alone with this? Will this issue be fixed? Do you have people that pay attention to fixing this issue and all that? That is also a risk that is associated, because you don't want to get a product that has an issue, even if it arrives at a very good quality and quantity, but there is nobody to fix the issue if it has an issue. And then people also have a risk that is associated with functionality. Is it going to do what it says? Is it going to do exactly? Is it going to function at least? Or is it going to have a problem? Maybe there's, and if you've ever bought a product, you know it's the right quality, you know it's the right quantity, it came on time, it was delivered, and the whole technical department is there, but you can't even switch it on, especially if it's a technical device also. Then there is also an issue that is probably associated with, there are lots of issues that are associated with businesses, and these issues are risk. Now, what most businesses do is to make a statement and tell customers how they reduce this risk. For instance, you could see, it's where you see those things like on time, pay before delivery for those people that have issues with delivery, or what you pay for is what you get, especially if it's fashion also. Just to reduce the risk of quality and all that. So people have come up with various ways of reducing this risk. But here is the problem with that. If you reduce this risk on just making a statement, you don't earn people's trust, because it doesn't cost you anything. Here's what I mean by that. If you're supposed to deliver on time and you don't deliver on time, then what happens? If you made a promise that you're going to deliver the right quality and you don't deliver the right quality, even if it's a mistake from your own part, then what happens? Because even if you make a refund, because refunds are one of those ways that people have also created to address some of this risk, like what you order is what you get, or we give you a refund. But here's the problem. You've wasted the person's time. Let's say I wait a week for a delivery, and then the delivery comes in a week's time, and it's not what I want. It's the wrong quality, it's the wrong quantity, it's the wrong so many things. And then you give me back my money, but you've wasted my 1 week. So you see, there's still a risk associated with time, and people don't want to waste their time. So just writing free delivery or you get your money back, all that doesn't mean anything. It doesn't help people reduce risk. So the only way you can reduce risk effectively is to introduce consequence. Consequence is what costs you something that the customer gets if you don't meet up to reducing the risk. That is what the consequence is. What is the thing that you associate with the risk reduction that costs you something that becomes beneficial for the customer? If you can introduce that, then you have actually reduced risk. Let me give you an instance with a story. In the 1960s, the founders of Domino's Pizza, Tom, he used to work for this very large corporation that sells pizza. And you know how long it takes for pizza to be made and all that. So every single time they make a delivery, there's always a complaint, especially with the time of delivery and all that. People complain that they don't get their pizzas on time and all that. So he came up with a strategy and explained he worked as a delivery boy. He explained this to his employers, and they didn't pay attention. So he decided to set up one himself. Now he made a statement that as long as you order a particular kind of pizza, you will get it on time. And if you don't get it on time, you won't just be getting your money back, you'll be getting a free pizza. Now that was a risk reduction that included a consequence. If he doesn't deliver on time, this is what happens to him. This is what happens to the business. When people see that, they unconsciously give you trust, because trust is not demanded. It is first earned and then built. You're asking people to be vulnerable. So it has to cost you something. There have to be a consequence element associated with your reduction of risk for you to earn the trust of people. And so what I did for him was, people saw no risk in buying his own pizza. Why? Because as long as you made a particular request or an order for a particular kind of pizza, you're going to get it on time. So now he knows the pizza to make, because he knows what people are going to place an order for. And then he's also going to deliver on time. And if he doesn't do that, he gives you both your money back and he gives you the pizza as well. So think about this. If you own a business and let's say you deliver clothes or you deliver anything, what happens when you change the dynamics and the concept to not just getting your money back if we don't deliver on time, but also getting the product as well. Now, people see no risk associated with this because they now see a reason to trust you. If you don't deliver on time, you leave them with the product and you also leave them with their money. So it now costs you something. If you try to reduce a risk without it costing you something, people can still see in that shallowness of risk reduction. Now, you have to design this in whatever way that it suits you. Let's say you're setting up an online class and you're promising people that this is going to give them exactly what it is that is stated. And if it doesn't do that, you just refund back their money. It doesn't reduce the risk for them, because taking people on hours or days of a training and it doesn't do exactly what it says and you give them back their money, at the end, they have their money back, but you've wasted their time. So what exactly are you going to do that will cost you something if you don't deliver what you promised? That is how you actually reduce risks, not just to make promises with words. Now, that has to do with risk reduction. After reducing risk, now you can build trust. Understand is that if trust is not built, the answer to whatever it is that you request from customers is no. There must be an element of trust that is infused in the relationship with your customer for them to say yes, even to the smallest level of quotient in dealing with your business. So how do you build trust? The first element in building trust is a relationship. You have to develop a relationship with your customers. Now, the relationship you develop with your customer must be based on benevolence, mutual benevolence. You have to care about what they care about. This is not just some reckless disruption of their life and activities with just bombarding them with informations and chats and call up like, how are you doing and all that. We are just checking up on you. They have dates that are memorable to them, like a birth date, the date of a loved one, an anniversary, something. And it's why it's important for you to keep records of some of the information of your customer. You ask them this time why they're signing up for something. So you can send them, you can get involved with their life somehow. You can automate these processes, get to wish them something, build a relationship that is based on something they care about. They already have people who are doing so many other things for them, but you must care about what they care about. And these relationships will have to be built on education. You have to educate them. You have to, it's like taking care of someone that is ignorant of the business that you are in. So you're educating them to even make a choice against you. So outside feeding them information and building a relationship with them that is based on mutual benevolence, the next thing you do outside building a relationship is to get an ability. Now, relationship ability, this is the second level of building trust with people. You can't build trust if you don't show ability. It's like having a medical doctor check up on you, call you on your birthdays and all that, but he doesn't really know how to do the surgery. He probably didn't even go to his school. You can't trust him even if he builds a relationship with you. You can't trust a loved one who calls you every single day if they don't have the ability to operate on you when you're sick. So you need to develop some sort of an ability, a competence that facilitates excellence in doing business with your people, with your customers and all that. And this ability have to be expressed or exemplified in the reduction of those risks that I mentioned: risk of quality, risk of quantity, risk of functionality, risk of time, risk of delivery, risk of troubleshooting. Every single one of those risks have to be reduced and shown in an ability. So outside building a relationship and showing ability, the next element that you have to manifest if you want to build trust with clients is a sense of belief. Here's the thing. If you have nothing you're pointing people towards to achieve, or that you're achieving with your business, then they have nothing to base their trust on in dealing with you. This is where you need to point them to something that is greater than you, something bigger than you, some sort of a vision, some sort of a world that you're trying to build and create with this business. You need your inadequacies and your incompetence to be excused by the customers. And this can only be established if you point them to something that is greater than yourself. Because now they see the need and the requirement of their involvement. They now see that there is a reason to bring in something that is not just you, that this wouldn't require just you to develop or build. So you need a sense of belief, a sense of value, a sense of vision, something that you are creating, that you're pointing people towards that is beyond you. It's not just a vision statement. It's not just a statement that you write or make. It has to be something that they can really see that you're working towards. Something that requires more than one person to build, because if it requires just you alone to build it, it's an ambition and not a vision, and people can see through that scheme. So relationship, ability, the sense of a belief, and then finally value. Other than reducing risk, most often people focus on giving benefits and reducing free deliveries, pay on delivery. Sometimes you have 14 days free trials, all those things that reduce risk. And like I told you, you have to add consequence to any of those things. Other than that, people don't pay attention to the actual thing that people are paying for. You don't just focus on features or benefits. You have to really make sure that this business delivers value. And how do you know it's valuable? When it moves people away from pain or when it moves them towards pleasure. You have to find out what is it that it's a pain if it disrupts a normal functioning. You don't sit on your own and create value isolatedly in your head. You have to really inquire from people, what is it that disrupts their daily activity? What causes them pain? And at the base of this product and service, it has to deliver that value. Value is not subjective. You have to focus on what is the pain or pleasure receptor of this client and then create value with it. These 4 elements are how you build trust after trust has been reduced. Establishing a relationship with the client, demonstrating an ability, a sense of belief, and then demonstrating value. What gets filtered out ultimately is trust. Now, the third thing you have to do in lead retention, we have talked about risk reduction, building trust. Now, on positive experience, every single client or every single user or customer that comes in contact with your business have to have some sort of a positive experience when it has to do with your business. And most people don't know how to build this. It's not just about the building trust and all that. A positive experience is built in consciously in the design of your business and product or services. And there are 3 ways you do this. Number 1 has to do with designing your system to be simple. Number 2 have to do with designing your system to be easy. Number 3 have to do with designing your system to be quick. Now, in simple, what you have to understand is people don't pay you for the process. People pay you for the results, even if they are nurtured by the process. So you're paying attention to how can you get to the result quickly? How can you take away the ambiguity? How can you take away the complexity and get to the result quicker for the clients? If you have an online course that has 10 steps to digital marketing, 20 steps to digital marketing, how can you reduce that to 3 steps? 3 steps to get to the result faster, except if it's absolutely necessary. Now, there are some classes, there are some particular products that the complexity of it, not really the complexity of it, how long it takes is involved in the positive experience, especially if it's something that involves the customers, involves them to kind of get to experience it in the journey. But outside that, we want to make this as simple as possible for the users. We want to reduce the journey as much as you can. Now that has to do with simple. It has to be really simple. Number 2 talks about easy. And what is it that you want to make easy for users and customers? Number 1, you want to make how they find you easy. Most times you make it very difficult to be found in your business. Why? Because you go in search of people rather than making yourself easily findable. You go to find people. There are places that have been really established for you to be found, either online or offline. And like I explained earlier, that if you want to be easily found, you have to place your product or services or yourself where there is already attention, not to create attention yourself. If it has to do with online, you can't be on every single platform. You have to only be on the platforms where people pay attention to. If you run an offline business, you want your business to be in the top 20% of whatever location or whatever store that people pay attention to. If you sell something that belongs to a supermarket, you don't want to go in search of people to buy those things. You want to make sure that it is placed in the major supermarkets in whatever vicinity you find yourself in. So You want to make it very easy for people to find you. You want to design an online presence, create an online presence, create content, create something that puts you out there that makes it very easy for people to find you. So yes, the first thing in making this easy is for you to be found. The second thing is for you to be paid. You know, it's really difficult for most businesses for you to get paid because of the way you've designed your payment system. You have to put forth multiple payment options, payment using QR codes, payment using transfers, a POS system. If you run a business that requires that, you have to have multiple payment system. You have to make it easy for you to be paid. And also in making it easy for you to be paid, if you run something that is very expensive, you serve only premium customers or premium users. You want to make sure that you make it possible for people to be able to pay in installments. Yes, but in dealing with installments, you want to also make sure that you get more than half the payment before commencing on the job, at least 60% of the money or 70% of the money before commencing. Now, these are ways you can make it easy for you to be paid if you run a business, so people can get to trust you. Then the final thing is you also want to make it easy for people to leave you. Now, I know that might sound contradictory to every single thing we have been explaining. How does making it easy involve you making it easy for people to find you, to pay you, and to leave you? If you really want people to trust you, you have to learn to try not to convince them. The more you try to convince people to trust you, the more likely it is for you to be not trusted, because people get defensive and skeptical when you obsessively want them involved in whatever it is that you're doing. It kind of shows in a way that you either lack the ability and they can only provide it. You're persuading people, you're not convincing people, you're exposing the value that you've created with whatever product or services that you have, and you're seeing who is in need of this so they can want it, not the people you have to convince for it. So you're also making it easy for people to leave you if this is not what they want. The more easy it is for people to leave you in how you design your product or service, the more likely it is for them to trust you. The less you show people that you need their payment or you need whatever it is that they want in regards to your business, the more likely it is that they feel that you're the one to provide the solution, that you're not too desperate for it. So you have to make it easy for you to be found, you have to make it easy for you to be paid, and you have to make it easy for you to be left. Now, outside making it easy, making it simple, you also have to make it quick. And what you're making quick is your response system. How do you solve problems? If it takes you too long to solve a problem, you make it very difficult for you to be trusted. Don't forget that troubleshooting is one of the risks that is associated with every single business. Every single business have an issue with troubleshooting. What I mean by that is every single business or with clients, people see a risk with what happens when I have a problem with whatever it is that I purchase. How quickly is this resolved? So you want to develop a very quick response system to dealing with issues. And that is one way you can get trusted easily. And this has to do with building a positive experience for your customers. If you want to build a positive experience, you want to make it simple, you want to make it easy, and you want to make it quick. Every single system that have to do with, or every single thing that you do with your business have to have these three elements. Now, outside building a positive experience, the fourth thing I want to talk to you about have to do with customer involvement. And this is really important. How do you involve the customers, the clients, the users in your business? And most people don't know how to do this. This is so important. Don't forget that you're designing and building your business with the customers as well. But what are they really doing in the equation? What is their job function there? And I'll tell you. The customers or users and clients, they're not there to help you design the product. They're there to help you discover the problem. It is your responsibility to create the solution, but it is the responsibility of the clients or customers to identify the problem or the pain. It's like, if you put yourself from the position of a medical doctor, you know, the hospital is one of the places where you go to and you always have to spend something. Now, the medical doctor already has the solution, but he doesn't know what the problem is. He doesn't know what the pain is. He needs the client, the patient to describe the pain, but it is solution. It is his responsibility to create the solution. He knows what all the solutions are. He knows the medication for headache. He knows the medication for ulcer. He knows the medication for arthritis. He knows the medication for everything. So he doesn't want to be giving you a medication for arthritis when what you have is a headache. So he needs you to describe the pain, right? Because the customers can describe the pain and identify the solution when they see it. And the entrepreneur can create the solution, but they cannot identify the pain. They need the customers to do that. The customer can only improve on the product you have created. You're the visionary. It's your responsibility to see beyond the product. They can't see beyond the product. You're the head of your enterprise. And one of the elements that is encompassed in the head is the sight. So it's your responsibility to see beyond the product or services in creating solution, but it's a responsibility to identify the pain. So what you involve the clients in or the customers is to identify the pain. What really, if you have a suggestion box set up in your business, or either online or offline, where people can put in an inquiry, you don't set up a suggestion for how the next solution should be created or how the next product should be created. Set up a suggestion on what the pain is with the solution you've created. And these are two different things. Let me give you a profound example. If you ask people what the next product was during the time that the mode of transportation was camels and horses and all that, what they would identify as the problem would be faster horses. How do we make the horses faster? How do we make the camels faster? But that is not the problem, because they are identifying the product. They need to identify the pain. The pain is faster and convenient. That is the pain, that we need to travel faster and it needs to be convenient. And that gave birth to things like cars and bicycles and all that. This is more convenient and faster. They can't help you in designing the product. If not, though, it's the motorbikes. They go faster, they're kind of a little bit convenient. But why do you have things like airplanes? If you involve the customers to design something faster, imagine the motorbike going on the speed of a private jet, of an aircraft. It's insane. And even if it's faster, it's not convenient. So if you inquire from them in creating the solution, you would end up you end up improving in the problem, and you wouldn't, or rather improving on the solution, which might not really be convenient. But what you need them for is to identify the pain. Why? Because you can't really see the pain. You're from the position of creating solution. But even in solutions created, there's still pain associated with the solution. So they're helping you iterate and configure the solution you've created in such a way that it is acceptable by them. So yes, that is how you involve customers in identifying the pain in whatever thing you've created, not in creating the next product, because it's your responsibility to be the visionary and see the next product. Now, finally, I'm going to talk to you about the psychological elements of trust. And this is really important. In the psychological elements of trust, with every single thing that we have mentioned, it is incomplete if the mind is not involved. Now, we've spoken about risk reduction. We've also spoken about building trust. We have also talked about the positive experience and customer involvement. Now, the psychological elements of trust. How do you get people to trust you? By not manipulating people now, by involving psychological elements that can get exhibited or that can be marked by trust. Number one is be official, become official, get the officiality and the associative requirements of your business. Get registered, get licensed, it's why people trust brands on Instagram that have the blue checks. It's connotes officiality. It's why people trust brands that also are registered, that are licensed. So you need to get official because it psychologically pulls on trust. Number two, outside getting official, have to do with showing past records of people's dealings with this your business, the proofs, showing people what is it called now? Testimonials is the word I'm looking for. Testimonials. You need testimonials. These are psychological elements of trust outside officiality. You need testimonials. You need people to testify on how good your business have been to them, either as some sort of a video, words, anything. These psychological elements pulls on people's trust, and it's also important that you involve it in your business. Now, outside testimonials and being official, your business needs to show character. What I mean by character is the values, the ethics. What are the values? What are your ethics? Most businesses don't have a built-in value system. You see words like integrity, we value customer service, integrity, loyalty, social responsibility. Those things are not values. Those things are just positive affirmations of value. Values are actions, things that people see that you do, not things that people see that you say. For instance, rather than saying something like we value customers, we put our customers first. The customers are first, and they can see this in the way you do business. Rather than saying time, we value time, you can say things like on time delivering, on time. It has to be an action. The values are actions. Things like integrity means that you can be trusted. This have to be shown. People have to see your value. Like, things can be done ethically and legally and all that. People need to see those values in your business. And this psychological element pulls on people's trust and gets them to trust your business as well. So you have to show testimonials. You have to show some level of officiality, maybe get registered, get a license or something. And then you have to show people your value, show people the things you value. And these are the ways you build trust. Don't forget that until a person's trust is earned, their request, their answer to whatever it is you request is a profound no. And these are ways you retain customers. If you follow through these steps, you will be retaining a huge percentage of the customers that come to your business, rather than just to let people come and then you waste a whole lot of resources in going to find people again. And this brings an end to this series. We have been able to discuss lead generation, lead nurturing, lead conversion, and finally now lead retention. If you include these 4 elements in designing your business, you will scale it up to any single level that you want to. So thank you all for listening, and do have a lovely day.